Hey, what's up everybody, BDO44 coming at you another video. Alright, so what am I talking about? The LA Lakers Game 3, Golden State Warriors back at Crypto.com Arena. Semifinals of the Western Conference. And we are very excited about being here, but we are not happy to be here, so to speak, as we talked about a lot of times. I looked at the stats just now of the last game, Game 2, of course, and there were some things we could do something about. First of all, I love the fact that we only had 9 turnovers to their 15. We got to keep that up. In Game 3, if we can keep our turnovers below 10, we like our chances. Second of all, they're not shooting 50% from behind the arc again. That's not happening. They're going to shoot the ball very well from behind the arc, but as a team, we do not expect them to hit like 20 or 40 or whatever it was. So we should be able to benefit from their percentages coming back down to earth a little bit. Klay Thompson had 30 points, 8 threes. That's the meat and potatoes. You contain him in Game 2, they don't score those points that they got to beat us with. That's the lead right there. His 8 threes. You got to stifle Klay Thompson if he's going off like that. Understand it's a homecoming for him since he's from LA. He hates the Lakers while playing in the NBA. He loves the Lakers while he's not, just like a lot of dudes. And so he wants to beat us in this series, and we're going to have to contain him if we want to win the series, I think. You can chase Steph around with Vanderbilt all you want. And Steph Curry's more than capable of doing what he did in Game 7 versus the Kings. So you're not safe either way. But what you can't do is let Klay Thompson, who's fully healthy for the first time in 4 years in the playoffs right now, 4-time NBA champion, have bulletin board material against you and then proceed to not identify that he's after you specifically. And so that's what I'm looking at. Klay got it out for us. Cool, we got it out for him. That's how it got to be. Moses Moody had 10.7 rebounds. That's too much production for Moses Moody. We got to limit that. We may not be able to do a lot of things about a lot of things, but keeping Moses Moody from having a damn near double-double is definitely something we can do something about. So stifle him and bring him back down to earth. We don't need Moses Moody and Dante DiVincenzo particularly finding their confidence in the series. They already got enough guards and forwards that can do a lot of damage. We don't need those two to emerge during this series. So we gotta contain Moses Moody. Let's just make this very clear. He's a two-way guy who can track people around. He's one of those guys where it's like, because we haven't seen a whole lot of him, you may not know of him to be a defender, so you may think that you're getting a break when you see him switch off away from, Wiggins or Klay Thompson. You think Moses on you, you're going to be fine. You're not. He plays D. He plays it very well. So you're still in a box dealing with this dude, and it's going to be necessary for us to identify what his strengths are now so that we can contain him throughout the rest of the series. Steph Curry got 12 assists in the last game. He's mixing it up very well. We really don't know what we're going to see from him. We don't know how attacking he's going to be. We don't really know nothing, and that's exactly the way he wants it. Through 2 games, he's been fantastic in 2 different ways. So we need to be aware that he is not just a shooter. Obviously, he's not just a guy running around dribbling the ball. This is somebody who understands the game and can help his team on both sides of the floor, so we need to respect him as such. Draymond Green almost had a triple-double. I'm not feeling none of that. How the hell he walk away with almost a triple-double? 11 points, 9 rebounds, 11 assists? Wrong. That's wrong for the Lakers. We don't need him going off like that. Him and Moses Moody, those are 2 guys. Production, unacceptable. We're too good of a defensive team for them to be finding stuff in other places. Hell no. Stifle that. Get him back down to 2 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists type stuff. You don't need Draymond having a series of his life. We got too many good defenders down there. He is too, weak scoring the ball for us to be enjoying him getting double digits every night against us on any level. It's not acceptable. So these are things that I want to just nip in the bud now. I know a lot of people are focused on the more obvious things like getting Anthony Davis the ball and the 81 or 82 points that we gave up in the 2 middle quarters. All of that stuff is just glaring, but at the end of the day, 8 out of 11 threes. If Klay can do that again, you'll tip your hat again, but they're not going to get that production. They better find it somewhere else. And so that's really what it comes down to. You got 30 points out of Klay, 20 points out of Steph. That's 50 points, plus the 12 assists that Steph gets. So that's another 24 points accounted for. Them 2 accounted for way too many points. They accounted for way too many points. And that's roughly, because you don't really know what the assists led to. Maybe fouls, maybe 3-point shots, give or take, could have been more points. But the point is, we don't need them accounting for that much production together. So I'm thinking about how the hell the Golden State Warriors ended up with 127 points, and I'm just seeing production from people that we can stifle some of that from them. If Steph Curry gets 50 points, fine. 12 assists, hell no. Stifle that. We got to bring him back down to a 7-6 assist team. We don't need the Golden State Warriors to be getting more assists than us as a team to begin with. If I'm not mistaken, they had like 5 more assists. We got to put it into that. We are a better overall team in terms of using our pieces, and they should complement more one another for more easy buckets. That is a distance shooting team. Their percentages should be lower. They should not be getting anything off more than us in that regard. We're passing into the lane, layups. They're passing to 3, shooting. Why the hell do they have more assists than us? So that's really what it comes down to. You get a little frustrated, even though I wasn't as frustrated after the game. When you get 24 hours or more to think about the game, there are things that you could consider and say, yo, we could limit that. That score didn't have to be 127. They didn't do enough to get 127 points on most nights. They just had a super, super hot and efficient Klay Thompson. And so as the series shifts back to LA, what I want to see the Lakers do a much better job of in this particular game is getting out in transition. Stifling them in transition. Those two things are very important to me this particular game. We're headed back home. I don't want no easy buckets for them. I don't want no excess turnovers. And I certainly want to find us making them pay for any excess turnovers they may give us. They had 15 turnovers in the previous matchup to our 9. So that right there tells us we did something good in that game. So we need to try to find a way to continue to force those turnovers and hopefully get more points in transition off of them than they're able to get off of our turnovers. That is key. Reestablish the boards once again. They had 13 or something more off defensive boards than us. I mean, how the hell were they clashing the glass over our guys? You know, Anthony Davis walking away with 7 rebounds. Nah, we need him to crash the glass like he did in game 1. 23 of them, if I'm not mistaken, or something crazy like that. That's what we need from Anthony Davis. And that's what we need from our entire team. You know, we talk a lot about Rui Hachimura, so we're not going to do a whole lot talking about him right now. Play the man. He's killing everybody. You don't want 22 minutes going to a guy who's dominating the other team when you're giving 26 minutes to guys who can't get a shot up. Make that align with what we're doing, and I'm pretty certain we'll be happy with our results. Hopefully Mo Bamba's 100%, but I'm pretty sure we won't use him anyway, so it don't matter. It was kind of good seeing guys get some extra time in garbage time in the last game, even though we were on the wrong side of the blowout. We love the rest, and we love what we saw from the guys who got an opportunity to play. I think most of them played pretty well with the garbage time given, and that was the most garbage time I think we've seen us have in a while. It was like 9 or 10 minutes of the bench. So I just thought that was the best case scenario. If you lose a game with the format being like this, where every other day you play, that's probably the best way to lose. It ain't the best way to lose to absorb the loss, but it is the best way to lose when you consider you're sitting half the game. That's what you want. So I expect the Golden State Warriors to allow any losses they occur to be blowouts so they can get that rest too. And if for some reason we're losing games, I expect for us to let the door fly wide open so we can buy that rest. I'm telling you, because that makes the most sense to me for both squads. They're older squads, and like I said, one day between games. So it shouldn't be no 1-point losses. Neither one of these teams should really want that. If you're going to beat me by 40 so I can sit Steph, sit Klay, sit Dre. That's what I'm thinking if I'm the Warriors. And you know, that's really what it comes down to. So as we can approach this basketball game, I want us to get out to a good start. I want us to really assess how well Vanderbilt does starting the game against Steph Curry versus how our offense looks. And that's kind of scary, because what if he has a heavy scoring quarter, or if he goes for 9 points in the quarter, then it blows my theory up. But my theory is this: Vando takes away from us offensively in that starting lineup when it's so very important that the players in that starting lineup get off to a good offensive start. You don't need a guy who's not going to provide the spacing, which allows for them to be crowded out. Various players on the roster in that starting lineup, like Anthony Davis, can't get off to good starts. Austin Reeves can't get off to good starts. Bron is going to take away from that by doing what it is that he does inefficiently at times if it doesn't start off well. So these are things I'm thinking about. I'm like, our starting lineup is centered around being defensive, but our offense is what needs to be established. You see what I'm saying? We need to get off to good starts. And so I just think that moving Vando to the second unit, starting with Rui, gives you the best opportunity for all 5 of those players to have the proper spacing to get off to good starts. Then from there, you can audible into the Vando, stick him on Steph Curry for the rest of the game after those guys have gotten their start, pick and choose which one of those starters are actually scoring and which ones need to have a seat, and then let Vando step in for the guys who needs to have a seat. That's how you play that, if you ask me. Because otherwise, you're starting off with an offensive disadvantage, and then you're asking AD to get off to a good start with that disadvantage. It's just stupid. You're asking you're doing more with less and expecting. You're asking your team to do more with less, and it's something that you can do something about. So I can still have a Steph Curry being chased around by Vando, but not in the first 5 minutes of the damn basketball game. Let that be Rui Hachimura getting off to a good start, making it so that other people have to guard him instead of crowding out the guys that we've already mentioned. You can still give Vando his minutes. He can still chase Steph around. Just doesn't have to be out the gate. So that's what I think will help balance out what Austin's having to deal with, what Bron is dealing with, what AD is ultimately dealing with, and it puts us in a position to have even more of a fresh start, because at the end of the day, we know that 3 out of those 5 players are unguardable for the Golden State Warriors. They can't guard LeBron James in the paint. They can't guard Anthony Davis anywhere if he's scoring, and they ain't going to be able to guard Rui Hachimura because he's too damn big, especially when you have to deal with those other 2 at the same time. That's 3 players you got to double team at once. It's not enough players on the floor for that. And so I don't know why we're not realizing this very simple situation. You put Vando on the floor, it's the opposite. Not only are they not double teaming somebody, they're not focused on Vando, they get to double team other guys before they even catch the ball. They get to play off Vando like crazy and leave him open for shots that he's not going to make. We are creating the environment for them to benefit from by putting a player who can't shoot on the floor for them to leave open. See what I'm saying? Just so he can chase Steph around, for Steph to still walk away with 30 points, 12 rebounds, 12 assists, or to still walk away what he's going to get anyway. I can put Vando on him later when it makes more sense for what it is I'm trying to do. When certain things are already established, I can put Vando on him all game long and just have him frustrated with Vando after being able to see a few shots fall with Vando not being on him. I think that's more frustrating than anything. Steph Curry getting on his rhythm, and all of a sudden from the second quarter all the way through the rest of the game, he got Vando on him. See what I'm saying? It's like, yo, he thinks the door is open, but it ain't really open. That's the type of thing you frustrate the champs with. But see, we're throwing our Vando at him early, thinking that's going to do something. It ain't doing nothing. All he has to do is morph into what he needs to play off of Vando chasing him. So he passes more, and it leaves the Vando useless because he's not even looking to score. You see what I'm saying? 12 assists, 20 points. You put Vando on me, I just pass off of him. Ain't scared. It ain't stopping Steph Curry from doing nothing. You're not forcing Steph Curry into anything uncomfortable. He can morph into whatever the hell he needs to for this basketball team. That's what we need to understand. So, with that being said, I can have Vando chase this guy in Game 5. I don't have to have him chase him in Game 3. What I need to establish in Game 3 is that damn scoring and freeing up our guards so we don't have such bad production from them at home like we did in Game 2. So I want us to make the switch. Vando is going to do a fantastic job on Steph Curry, and we're going to have him on Steph Curry for the majority of the series. It don't have to be at the start of the game, and it certainly shouldn't be to the detriment of our rhythm or not honoring Rui Hachimura's production, which has been dominant. So I just think we're leaving a lot of production on the board, and we're overthinking this thing, trying to have Vando do what he's doing, and it ain't really stopping Steph at all. It ain't. You might be able to stifle him from scoring, but you ain't stifling him from playmaking. So just ease up off of Steph a little bit. Vando's still going to be there to put on him, but ease up a little bit and close up the other holes that are creating openings for the damn Golden State Warriors. Make them figure out the adjustment we're making in that regard, and then if we find that we don't like the adjustment, we can double back to it in Game 4. But for me, it's like through 2 games, I don't think we've stifled Steph Curry. We ain't stifling him. All we've effectively done is make it harder for Anthony Davis and Austin Reeves to get going. So move Vando back to the start of the second unit. Bring Rui up and honor the production that you're seeing. Put the ball in his hands and watch him create space for other players. If he becomes somebody who has to be double teamed in that starting lineup, guess who they can't double team? Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Austin Reeves, etc. So that should be done. That's really where my head is, man. We talked about Dennis Schroeder. He needs to get involved and play well. You know, in that first game, he and D'Lo gave us some good production. That first game we won. Second game, they didn't hardly give us anything, we lost. So I think that correlates together. If our guards are playing well, we're doing good, which is why we need to remove the Vando so they can do that. telling you, as long as they got the best defensive players on our guards who are really good, but not superstars or stars, they're going to get outclassed, and we're going to get our butts kicked. So we need to do something about that. What else, man? Kevon Looney ain't going to be sick tonight. He ain't. I don't know if that plays into the hands of the Golden State Warriors based on what it is that they benefited from in the one game that they've won in this series. JaMychal Green and that three-point ability, him spreading the floor. I don't know if people see it the way I do, but I'm actually taking my initial topic from how that worked for them. When you consider what we're trying to do in regards to getting more offense on the floor and creating more openings for the other guards in that starting lineup, that's what JaMychal Green did for them. Even though you don't have the same rebounding, now you got a lot more space for Steph, Clay, and anybody else in that starting lineup to maneuver, because you ain't got Kevon and Draymond both not spreading the floor together. So while they're able to benefit from that because they got the best shooters in the world, at the end of the day, those shooters don't have nearly as much space as they would have if everybody on the floor could shoot as well. And so this is a situation just by default, and I think they knew this. They removed Kevon Looney from the situation, gave him 12 minutes where he still had massive production in those 12 minutes, put the shooter on the floor to create the space and throw a monkey wrench in our last minute circumstance, so that whatever we were planning for the last 24 hours had to be amended into something drastically different because a 20 rebounder isn't on the floor, and instead they put the 3-point shooter down there. So that's why I'm telling us to put Rui on the floor, because I think it's going to have that same dynamic. You remove a Vandalorian from the situation, now they got to guard more people, thus creating space, I've already said. So that worked for them. If they go back to Kevon Looney, will that take away that advantage? And if so, will that render them being a team that plays into our hands? I think the answer is going to be yes. Honestly, I think they're probably better starting JaMychal Green for that dynamic. And I don't think they plan on doing that for much longer. I don't think so. There's two things I know that's not going to work for them as a franchise in this series that worked for them in Game 2 that they probably should consider doing more of. Doing that with Kevon Looney, because it worked, and doing the same thing with Jordan Poole, because it worked. Both of those dudes combined for, if I'm not mistaken, like 30 minutes, which is unheard of when you consider the Golden State Warriors and what those two guys represent on that team as champions and as guys who are making a lot of money. Kevon Looney and Jordan Poole basically removed from Game 2 when they won by 27. Those guys are going to definitely be reinserted back into the situation. Definitely. And Looney, like I said, Looney's never a problem in any way. Obviously, he's arguably the third best player on the team right now, the way he's been rebounding. But at the end of the day, we don't have to guard him at the 3-point line. We get to crowd him, we get to crowd Dre, and the shooters just have to deal with the space they're given. That dynamic is now back. And you got the Jordan Poole dynamic, and he thinks he's Steph Curry himself, so he's going to launch 12 threes. He'll hit 1 or 2 of them, or he's 6 of them like he did in the first game. But the point is the efficiency will likely not be there, but the volume will be there. He's taken away from his team with various possessions that he throws away in that way. I like that. I think they're a better team if they turn him into an entirely different piece. But as long as they're using him to be what it is he's supposed to be, and he's trying to play off of Steph and Clay, I think 9 out of 10 nights that works against the Golden State Warriors, not for them. So as long as they continue to bench him, they should be fine. But they get him back out there, which they're going to do, that should play back into our hands if he's not hot. And likely, he will not be. Taken away from shooters who will be. We like that. So hopefully they can get Jordan Poole back into this thing and stop benching him, because it does make them better. They haven't played GP2 as much in this series, but I know he's going to be used a lot, so be ready for him. He's a guy who's going to be, if I'm them, I'm waiting till you're tired, and then I'm putting him on the tired player to finish him off. So y'all got to be careful with that. Moody can be used for the same reasons. What else? Dante DiVincenzo's not a player we're going to forget anything about. He's a guy, if Clay gets hurt or something like that, he could step up and score 25 points. So we just need to be aware that he's per minute, he's going to be very productive in that system. And they're just having a hard time finding minutes for all the guards that they have. So we just got to be ready for the depth that they have at guard and continue to throw fresh bodies at them, just like they're going to continue to throw fresh bodies at us. Let's see. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Andrew Wiggins had a plus 35 in the last game. We just got to keep tab of him. It really doesn't matter how much scoring or rebounding or stealing he does. He finds a way to bring the team together and just overall be a good cog to the machine itself. He's their best source of driving at the rim, their best source of athleticism outside of Kuminga, of whom they do not want to use in the series, it seems. So we got to put our athletes on the floor. We talked a lot about that. I want to see us use Lonnie Walker just because he can jump over most of these people. You know, I want to see us do the lob thing in regards to Anthony Davis. You know, use that length above the rim because they don't have anybody that can guard that. There's nobody on this team taller than 6'10". They're short. So we got to be able to use that to the best of our ability and don't just, react to them. Steph Curry is somebody you have to keep a hold of. You got to react to him. But we have to respect the fact that Steph Curry has to guard somebody. And if we don't play so damn shook in regards to chasing him around, we can actually get him off the floor in a different way by targeting him defensively and getting him in what people, and I consider foul trouble, even though a lot of coaches don't believe in foul trouble. The players have to react to it just the same. Never forget that. Just because a coach doesn't believe foul trouble exists at all does not mean that the player don't have to go down there and manage the fact that if they get another foul called on them, they are going to have to play off of people even more so and get eliminated from the game if they catch too many of them fouls. And coach can be like, I don't believe in foul trouble. Leave him out there with 4. The player still got to act like he's walking on eggshells. And that's the disconnect with a lot of players and a lot of coaches. These coaches just be playing with foul trouble because they don't believe in it. Send the players out there and the players play tentative. So we need to put Steph Curry in those situations. He ain't firing off 12 assists, 20 points, getting all kinds of stuff that he's doing if he didn't already picked up 3 fouls in the first quarter. You know what I'm saying? And if we're chasing him around with Vandalorian and all that, giving him all that respect on the defensive end, he's still torching Vando because he's going to do that. Then on the other side, we're not even hunting him out. We're not, you know what I mean? We're going about it the wrong way. That's a wrong way to attack Steph Curry. I mean, it's a way, and slowing him down and keeping him from scoring is definitely a part of it, but it ain't everything. It ain't everything. You got to get his butt off that floor, period. You don't want him down there at all. And the only way to really do that is to force him into being a fouler. So that's what I say, man. I ain't afraid of no superstars because at the end of the day, they only get 6 fouls. Bottom line, they only get 6 fouls. And you put them clowns in position to draw them fouls and you get them off the floor. Or you force their coach to show you that they're not in touch with whether or not the player can play with foul trouble comfortably. Which no player can actually play with foul trouble comfortably. That's the secret that most seem to not understand. So that's what we need to do. Make foul trouble something that we force upon the Golden State Warriors on the road. They're not home. The floor is purple and gold. Ain't no blue there. Ain't no E40 in the corner. Ain't none of that. You're in LA. Jack Nicholson, Denzel Washington, all that. That's where they're at. So we need to make them feel like they're not home, just like they made us feel like we're not home. Simple as that. And so that's what it is, man. Crypto.com Arena, also known as Anxiety Arena. We've won a lot of games as of late in this building. I haven't seen too many signs of us struggling with anxiety, but at the same time, this is the playoffs. This is the Lakers. It's a lot of pressure, to say the least. Guys have up and down the roster been inconsistent, and now they're back home expected to win against the defending champions. So this is a pressure cooker. There's a lot of pressure, and I need guys to shoot above 70% from the free throw line. Neither team did in the last game. I'm sure both of them aren't happy about that. Only 10 free throws attempted from both teams. That's very interesting to me. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's how that went. So you're going to definitely see us get to the line more. You're going to definitely see Golden State attempt to get to the line more as well, and we should definitely try to refrain from fouling them. They can only beat us if we let them. And I mean that in every single facet of the phrase. If we let them in our paint, they can score in the paint, open up a 3-point shot for themselves. If we don't guard them in transition, are lazy in transition, they're going to score easy buckets that they otherwise won't get. If we don't guard the perimeter, they're going to do what they do. If we don't keep them from scoring in our paint, that's a problem. If we can't score in their paint, that's a massive problem because we have the personnel to do so and we don't shoot too many threes. So all these different things played out the opposite way in game 2, and as a result, we lost. I don't want to see that no more. We had less turnovers than them, but could not get more rebounds than them. All of these different things we can do something about. So I love the idea that LeBron James only had No turnovers. 0 turnovers in that game. D'Angelo Russell had 0 turnovers in that game. I think that's something that you lose by 27 and that happens, that's a strange situation. Just less turnovers than the other team in general, still get blown out. And then I look at Clay's 8 threes, and I'm telling you, that's where it was. That's where it is. He blew the game open just like Malik Beasley tends to blow the game open when he gets hot from behind the arc. It don't really matter what the other team's doing. He hit 8 threes. You can't account for that type of scoring when Anthony Davis only want to give you dang 11 points, and that's how you lose. So when Anthony Davis is feeling whatever he's feeling in regards to people getting on his case about not scoring the ball, about not playing well based on the scoring, he needs to understand that this is the difference. This is the difference. It's you going for 11 versus you going for 30. That's where all the points went, brother. And so it's like, Anthony Davis is one of the best players in the league. And we love having him in these playoffs, especially healthy. But there's still a lot to be desired, even in the midst of him being a great player. We don't look at people talking about Joel Embiid and Jokic and Jason Tatum the way that we talk about AD, because AD only show up half the damn time, whether he's healthy or not, or then from there, when he is healthy, maybe he shows up, maybe he's giving us 11 points. We tired of 11 points, AD. And it's nice. And wanting us to just embrace the greatness that you give us on the defensive end while giving us such unacceptable inconsistency on the offensive end is not fair to the fans. It's not fair to the fans, in my opinion. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to show us you're this good, and then you're going to show us the lowest level of your play every other night, then of course that's going to garner a reaction from the fans. It ain't going to be positive, Anthony. We like consistency. You want us to show up to the arena every night consistently, right? You don't want just 9,000 people showing up some nights, 16,000 showing up the next night. Every other night you got 916. No, we want you to show up every night for every game. So we got to do the same, and that's the role that all parties play in the situation. But I'll tell you, just like I said last night, if for some reason Anthony Davis can't shake off this demon, we also got to understand that we got 100 points worth of scoring that we don't even ask to use. You just use somebody else. That's one of the reasons why I didn't jump on top of his scoring as much as maybe some others have. Because at the end of the day, if I thought we couldn't make up that scoring somewhere else, that would be valid, but we can. If he only goes for 11 points, we should still be able to get 15 out of Schroeder, 25 out of D'Lo, 20 out of Rui. You know what I'm saying? The scores should be made up elsewhere. But that's not an excuse for Anthony Davis to not give us what it is we need, because he should, in theory, be more capable than any of those guys in any combination. We shouldn't have to go to this guy, and that guy for 35 points. We got you. And that's your job. So I'm not feeling Anthony Davis's approach to offense. I think his defense has been Hall of Fame, nothing short of legendary. But I can look at him playing great on the defensive end, and look at his trash offensive display and split them down the middle and just tell him this ain't acceptable and demand that he plays better offensively. Get us the scores that we need, brother. And don't take that as pressure. Take that as, we believe you can do it because you've shown it to us. And we believe that this 14-point, 11-point Anthony Davis crap leads to us losing. And we got to put an end to it, no different than traveling, brick 3-point shots from Bron, not getting in transition defense, not guarding 3-point shooters. It's just another thing we have to not let happen. So we can get on the coaches and everybody else for getting the ball to Anthony, not getting him the ball sooner or not getting him the ball in better situations. All of that is great. But at the end of the day, Anthony Davis is a great player, and great players should be able to find ways of doing what it is that they do without needing so much help from the coaching staff and everybody else to get them a damn bucket. So my frustration with Anthony Davis is high as it pertains to the offensive end, because I'm frustrated at the fact that he wants us to be okay with this crap. That's where I have a problem. Because he's playing so well on the other end, it's like we're supposed to embrace and ignore the crap. And I'm telling you, man, I don't like that. I don't like when people ask me to do that, especially when they're capable of being all worldly. If you're average, if you're Troy Brown, then for sure I'm a 3 points, 1 3-point shots in 20 minutes. That's all I'm asking from you, because then you ain't gonna give me nothing else. But Anthony Davis, I'm not accepting no Troy Brown energy from Anthony Davis. I've been saying this for 6 months. I'm not accepting it. I don't care. God gave you more than everybody. So you got to walk around with a certain level of respect for that and give what you're supposed to the game every night. And don't walk around getting mad at the critics for holding you accountable for not displaying the greatness that God gave you to display. So that's how I feel about that. I say that from the heart. I am sick, and he ain't the only one that does this, but I'm sick of players who are capable of doing 10 times more than the hardest working guy who can't get there. Getting all the way to the top and just being, I got $300 million, but it's just too much. That energy, that right there ain't never going to be respected by Purple and Gold. We don't know nothing about that. We don't like that. We don't want that here. We want guys who are serious about winning. You ain't got to be Kobe. You ain't got to be obsessed, but you had better give us your best, especially when you display that you're that great. When you're up there with Shaq and Kareem and Will, you can't act like you're JaVale. You can't play like you're Mitchell Robinson. You can't play like a Rudy Gobert. I respect those guys. I think they're Hall of Fame level defenders, but you have two-way ability and you make a ton more money than them. And it's because you're tons better than them. And that's what we need to be seeing on the basketball floor tonight. So I'm not accepting no soft stuff from Anthony Davis no more for the rest of the series. I'm not taking it light on him. I have balance in regards to him being an amazing defender, the best defender I've seen. But his offense is legendary when he wants it to be. And other nights he's acceptable with 11 damn points in a playoff game. And I'm telling you, he's the only superstar I've ever seen like that. The only one who's capable of giving me 60, but will not be upset at himself for giving me 11. And will lose the game where he goes for 11 and will dominate the game he goes for 60. Bro, it's the difference. It's the difference between the Lakers winning and the Lakers losing. And I'm telling you, bro, if it's effort that costs us a chance to beat a small team like the Golden State Warriors, and we get ousted, people are not going to love the fact that you played great defense for 2 series. They ain't going to care, bro. They ain't going to care. Because they know that if you would have had just 25 points in all them games where you had 11 and 14, we would have won the games. Or at least been closer to make it make sense. So, nah. I've thought about this. I've prayed about this. And I'm telling you, Anthony Davis got to look himself in the mirror and say, the defensive side of the ball ain't the only side of this ball that I'm tasked with dominating. And I don't give a damn if it's only one side of the ball I want to play. That's not acceptable for the game that I've been given in this life. And I got to go out there and help my team win championships like everybody who was ever given talent like me before. And if I don't do that, then I'm letting people down, and they all right for being let down and expressing that, because I, as a fan, would have did the same thing, Anthony Davis, you would have, if Michael Jordan didn't show up back in the day when you was a kid, watching them Bulls or whatever teams you was facing, watching back in the day. So that's what it comes down to for me. I'm not accepting one half of the court from Anthony Davis, no different than I wouldn't accept it one half of the court from Michael Jordan. When you're one of the greatest defensive and offensive players on the floor, I expect for you to pile up championship rings, because you can dominate the floor more so than anybody else out there. Anybody. Giannis don't play both sides of the ball as best as you do. Jokic don't play both sides as good as you do. Joel doesn't play both sides as well as you do. And that is why I don't feel that Anthony Davis and the passes that he's been getting, or the sensitivity that he may be embracing based on this criticism, is anything that I should be giving any credence to at all. None. Anthony Davis needs all the pressure. He signed up to be LeBron James' running mate, but he knew when he did that he was going to have to take the reins from Bron, because Bron was already old. We started this, Bron was already 36 years old. You're supposed to be trying to take the reins from him. It shouldn't be no conversation about Bron being the biggest star on this team. He's not. You are. And I ain't been talking about Bron like he's the number one on this team for about 2 months now. Because at the end of the day, Anthony Davis is the 1A on this team. Everything revolves around Anthony Davis if we're doing things properly. Otherwise, we're doing too much stuff outside of our skin. We need to step back into our skin with him being the number one option. But if he ain't going to give us nothing but 11 points, he ain't going to attempt nothing but 7 shots, 1 free throw, then you best believe we got to ask other people to step ahead of him, and it throws off the pecking order entirely. We get mad at the fact that we're not getting Anthony Davis the ball on a regular basis. It's because Anthony Davis don't step up and take the ball on a regular basis. We got to score by committee And then on certain nights in the playoffs, you just expect for us to snap out of that. This is who we've been all year. He do this. And we got to make up for it. And it's time to stop. It's time for the crap to stop. So, this is me calling out Anthony Davis officially. 11-point Anthony Davis will be met with more negative talk. More negative talk, bro. I'm going to make it a point to be hard on Anthony Davis because that is what his greatness demands of me. When I see what he can do at his highest level, that prompts me to say this is what it is that should be demanded of him every night. Every night. So I don't find myself comfortable with anything other than 30 and 15 from Anthony Davis. It's called averages for a reason. This is what you're supposed to be giving us on average. This is what you can do on paper. And when you trot out there, give me a couple lazy layups at brick, a couple lazy jumpers at brick, and then go back down the court, play amazing defense, but don't give us nothing on the offensive end. Our team doesn't look as good. Now we're relying upon Dennis Schroeder to do more. Now we're relying upon Vando to hit threes. Now we're relying upon LeBron to get everything right. When we got dang Anthony Davis on our team, who, if he just plays like his best self, we don't lose anybody. Golden State damn included. So that's what I got to say before Game 3. I want Anthony Davis to not only step up in Game 3. This is just one game. We need him to step up for every damn game left in these playoffs. And let the excuses stay outside. Straight up. Enough of this coddling Anthony Davis crap. You know what I mean? I've been listening to Stephen A. Smith. I took that to heart. He said call him out. I was like, we do call him out. Not enough. It's playoff time. Not enough, apparently. You know what I mean? And I just don't like the attitude. I want somebody to be mad at themselves when they walk away with 14 points, 11 points, when they have an average of 26 points or whatever game. You need to be mad at that. Especially when it's your responsibility to carry the damn team. You need to be angry at that. You need to be looking at yourself in the mirror and say, I ain't hearing enough Stephen A's. I ain't hearing enough skips. People ain't calling me out enough. You know what I'm saying? But he's you know, next day I'll do better tomorrow. I just got to do better. No, you just got to tell yourself you're going to do better and then proceed to make sure you do. And any of the moments where you're not doing better, you push yourself to do better in those moments. You don't get up there after the damn press conference when you done gave me 11 points talking about you got to do better. You said that the last time you went for 14. You said that the last time you went for 14 before that. You said the last time you went to 13 before that. Stop going for 13, 14, 14, and 11. So that's what I got to say, man. I'm tired of this crap. Hey, Golden State Warriors are going to come in strong tonight. They're going to look to shoot the ball as much as they have been. They're going to use all their little spacing, geometry to try to stifle us further. They're going to throw something in there that we're not looking for. Maybe Dante DiVincenzo attempts 7 threes or something. We just need to be ready for anything. And that's the problem with going against the Golden State Warriors. That's why it's so important that you use your very best common sense to utilize the strengths necessary. That's why in-game adjustments are necessary against a champion like this, because whatever they're throwing at you, if you ain't reacting to it in real time, or if you don't think they can switch it up mid-game, you're damn foolish, and you're going to lose. So this ain't the time to play around. We are in a 1-1 situation. If this game goes left, we have a chance to go down 2-1. And then when you got to play another game in your building, hopefully it goes well. You do not want to give the champs any indication that they can come back. As I told you guys in that series against the Sacramento Kings they played, there was a moment in that series where Sacramento was up by like 15. And then you started seeing the Kings come back. It was like game 4 or something like that. I was watching and I said the shift has taken place. Sacramento will likely not win another game because they have a 15-point lead, but Golden State is starting to tear into that lead. It's the middle of the series. They've been down, and now they're finding their confidence. And I promise you, when a team like that, the Golden State Warriors, think they found something, you better find something. And that's exactly where we're at. They think they found something against us, just like they think they found something against Sac and got to them. They think they found something against us. They found a way to get into our paint. They found a way to out-rebound us. They found a way to keep us out their paint, and they shot threes on top of that. All of that needs to be duplicated 3 more times, and I'm telling you, if you look at the stats on paper of these 2 teams, they ain't supposed to be able to do that to us more than twice, which is why I have us in 6. So, Lakers, and everybody who would ever enjoy purple and gold in any level, this is the time for your team to show pride in its own legacy. Yes, we're going against the Golden State Warriors. They got a bunch of championships, but not nearly as much as us. Not nearly as much as us. In fact, they ain't even at the halfway point messing with us yet. So we need to understand who actually outclasses whom organizationally right now. Golden State Warriors, everybody alive today thinks the Golden State Warriors are the best thing ever, except for the people who were here before those people who didn't see nothing but the Golden State Warriors. We remember the Spurs dynasty. There ain't much difference than that. We remember our own dynasty, both of them. There ain't much difference than that. We remember the Celtics dynasty. There ain't much different than that. We remember the Heatles. There ain't much different. Like the Golden State Warriors, this ain't the first time we've seen some deity that's great in the sky, and we've been that twice. So we are not impressed by them and their success. Sorry. Laker fans are not impressed with Golden State's dynasty. We honor it. We respect it. But like we've worn that hat twice ourselves. So they need to understand that. the Golden State Warriors and all their fans and all their players and coaches need to understand that the Lakers respect them, but we don't revere them. In fact, we see ourselves as superior to you championship-wise. So that's what I expect from our players. You're wearing purple and gold. They're wearing blue and yellow. They want to be us. They want what we have. And so let's not act like they're outclassing us just because they've had some recent success. Because that recent success is going to have to come a lot more frequently if they actually want to look us in the eye as a franchise. With respect. But with intent. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel about that. So that's really where my head is. Not no X's and O's. We ain't going to break down too much. We'll leave that to the real basketball minds today. We're going to go on the rah-rah tip and just talk about how we need to bring the right attitude. That's really where I'm coming from. Rah-rah. This is a 1-1 series. We're going up against the defending champions in the reigning NBA dynasty. However, we are the leading team in the history of the sport, and the Green Guys are somewhere in there with us. So what we got to do is remember who we are. Establish that at home. They're coming into our culture. This is purple and gold. Establish that at home. And then from there, make them feel as far away from San Francisco as possible. Fans need to be loud and rallied up. Our team needs to be ready to go, fired up. Everything about us needs to represent purple and gold tonight. It needs to be a purple and gold couple of days. And we need to remember something. They scored 82 points on us in quarters 2 and 3 combined in the last game. I take exception to that bull crap. They are a phenomenal scoring team, but we are the best defensive team in the league. 42-point quarter, 41-point quarter, back-to-back with a halftime in between. We should not be pleased with that. We should look at that and say, ain't never again. Even if we lose the series, they ain't never doing that again. So that's what I got to say right now. We take pride in understanding that we left our butt exposed in quarters 2 and 3 and have done so a lot this season, have done so a lot in the playoffs. So if we don't capture the understanding that we need to put an emphasis on those 2 quarters and come out of that locker room at the end of halftime like gangbusters and jump on top of this little team, then I'm gonna have a lot of things to say about how we approach this game. You gotta react to how they just did you. We gotta react to how they just did us. They sent a statement out there. So what do we need to do? Respond with a statement. So that's what I expect from my team tonight. I don't want no bull crap. I want us to have our minds set on defending everybody that they got on this team. They got plenty of guys that we know what they do. We've seen them twice now, coupled with the preseason, the regular season, and the play-in tournament last year. We know Golden State. They know us. Let's go out there and utilize the fact that we have Hall of Famers with NBA championships just like they do. We got advantages on the basketball floor just like they do. We got the history and all that stuff is already said. There ain't nothing about them that should make us feel like we should not be respected just as much as they should be. We had a championship 3 years ago. They got one last year. Like, we ain't nothing about them that should be towering over us in any way at all. So make that very clear. So that's what I got to say, man. That's how I'm approaching game 3. You know, I think this game is favored for us to win. I have us winning it. We're coming back to our crib. We took care of business in their house. They're looking for the split in ours, and our urgency should be to keep them from it. We don't want to just win one game. We want to defend our house. We want to protect this house. We want Golden State to feel, like I said, far away from San Francisco. And we need them to understand that the yellow on their floor is not the yellow on ours. That's gold, real gold. You feel me? And that's how I feel about it. So that's it, man. That's it. We are establishing ourselves here, man. We giving them all the respect in the world. We told them how we want to, defend against what they got and all that. Now we're saying, look, all right, we get it. Y'all Golden State, but don't get it twisted. We're the Lakers. 17 of them, and we're going after 18. Catch up to that. BDL 44. I thank you all for watching.